The third question, which is more introspective, not all of us obviously come with all competencies which is required of the whatever role we will be playing.
Yeah.
And how do you deal with that? What are some strategy, tactics?
Look, I know the one thing that I try and keep my mind open to is the fact that I don't know everything about everything. For me, for example, I understand the consumer journey, but I don't understand the technology. So that's an area where I depend a lot on the younger members of my team. And there are so many bright, 70% of Nestlé is millennials.
Oh, is it? Okay.
So when I retire, as I mentioned once, the average age will come down quite dramatically, right? So a lot of young people, they understand technology, they use technology, they are on that technology journey. They know where it works, where it doesn't work. I leave it to them. So when we relaunched Maggi after the Maggi crisis, it was first put on Snapdeal.
Oh, okay.
And the idea to put on Snapdeal was not my idea. My idea would have been to put it in the market. A youngster suggested that we put it on Snapdeal because the target group, which is millennials, they went and bought on e-commerce sites. They were not going to shops to buy brands and products.
That's interesting.
So I said, okay, maybe this young man knows more than what I know about shopper behavior. So I think technology is an area where I believe that I take a lot of help, and sometimes in terms of sensing the environment. Okay, I am by nature a fairly trusting person. Right, I don't instinctively distrust anybody. I always begin with the benefit of the doubt, saying this person will be having virtues, and I need to look at those virtues. But ever so often, I have some of my colleagues who will caution me and say, I think you're trusting the wrong man. Or indeed, you're not entirely correct in your assessment of what this person, he or she, can do in the organization. Right? Because you're taking a very trusting point of view. So therefore, I use people to be my sounding boards and to tell me the things which I don't know, and to educate me on the aspects that I don't understand. I think the important issue is you shouldn't have an ego issue about it. You shouldn't think that because you're sitting in an important chair that you know everything and that you should understand everything. I know that I don't know everything. I don't understand everything. And I know that sometimes I'm impatient. But when I am impatient, I know I'm impatient. And I always internalize a reason for being impatient, which is, it is because I think otherwise things may not happen the way they should happen. So I think being open to your weaknesses and assimilating from people around you also makes you more accessible as a leader. Because when people know that you're a human being and that you've got warts and that you've got moles and that you've got blemishes, they will accept you as a human being far better than if you think or if you behave like a Superman.
To be able to even say, laugh at oneself and say, okay, and say,
oh sure, I don't take myself too seriously, and since I am married and my wife, she doesn't allow me to take myself too seriously either, right? So every time I feel that I'm a Superman, she tells me that, look, you have a long list of 25 different things that you are not good at, and that you know that you're not good at. So don't think you're great. Right?
I think all spouses
and then I have
a
daughter as well who's a millennial, and she keeps also telling me that, Dad, you have got your strengths, but you've got your weaknesses.
Thank you so much. And just for my own personal benefit, how do you choose the people? You said, when you are trusting, so you have sounding boards. Is there any way you choose certain people from your ecosystem?
Very good question, Gauri. I think I use basically two simple principles or two types of people. The first type of people are those who are, I believe, similar in purpose, values, and outlook as compared to me. So these are what I call the, for my reconfirmation hypothesis, that there is an element of confluence between the way I think, the way these people think, and the way they would react to typical situations, and the way I would react normally to a particular situation. That's one type of people. The second is I choose people who are also very different from me. So these are people who give me the outside in perspective. They also sometimes give me what I call the aha moment. And this could be not just for the judgment of individuals, but it could also be for the judgment of situations.
Okay.
Since I've been through difficult times, so you need such people. And the people whom I choose to talk to are those who have got the full liberty to turn around and tell me that, I think, Suresh, you're wrong. Because leadership is always lonely at the top.
Yes.
Everybody wants to tell you how good you are, that you are the greatest leader, you are the best guy who has come, and the world will sink after you, etc., etc. It's nice to hear that, but that's not necessarily the truth. It's those who tell you that, look, Suresh, there is a wart there, there's a mole there, there's a problem there that you are not addressing, that you need to address. They are the most valuable. But ultimately, the judgment is yours. You see, as I always say, when you take decisions as a leader, the buck stops at your door. You can't take credit for all the good things and say the bad things is my subordinate. You have to you can have a whiff of the credit, but you need to carry the can of the blame. So if you do that, I think over a period of time, you establish a certain model of decision making as well.